Now seating for Empty Theater Club.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Empty Theater Club, a podcast for those who follow celebrities' finstas with reckless abandon. I'm Val.
And I'm Cam. Today we have a special episode. We're kind of diverting our tracks a little bit, and we're going to go into some Empty Theater Club lore for you guys. So answering all those hot questions about Cam and Val and ETC and everything else in between. But before we get too into that, we still need to do just some quick film updates. So since we last spoke, I feel like the biggest thing that's happened is Val completely lost her mind over the F1 trailer that was teased in the last episode. It is out. The movie directed by Joseph Kosinski, starring Brad Pitt. How are we feeling, Val?
I'm feeling a lot of emotions because when I first saw it, I won't lie, I got full body chills. There's just something about hearing "We Will Rock You" in a movie trailer that gets me every time.
It does the opposite for me, actually. It makes me tune out.
People are saying. Look, I think it was definitely a choice that the movie is called F1.
F1.
On the internet, people initially had the same reaction as I did of just like, oh my God, this is so exciting. Especially seeing the trailer and seeing like real drivers going out. And then the actual race on Sunday happened. And then now that we had a couple more more time to process everything, people were like, wait, let's play that back again, because what the hell was that trailer? People are calling it a Formula One fan fiction. And look, people are saying, I'm not necessarily saying it, people are. So there was a deep dive, and the team is called like Apex something, or it's APX JPF1. And they have an entire Twitter and Instagram that have been active for a couple months now, and they're making the drivers, they're finishing P21 and P22, so like in 21st and 22nd place. So people are like, okay, I'm kind of confused on the plot line. Aren't they supposed to be really good? They're doing like storytelling. I don't know. I'm just kind of obsessed with the lore behind it.
Oh, this is my first time hearing of this.
You're telling me now for the first time.
Oh yeah.
And I'm obsessed. I will be following on our new Empty Theater Club Twitter that just dropped. If you're not following, follow us.
The driver has an Instagram called Sunny Hayes F1. It's wild. Yeah, I'm obsessed with there being actual F1 drivers. Something that I did think was important to note, just in terms of movie magic, real F1 driver, Pierre Gasly, his car was used to film the race scene in the trailer that we saw, just snaking through. And that was filmed during the 2023 Belgian Grand Prix.
Oh, interesting. So that was filmed for the movie, not even just filmed as a clip or something.
Like that. So what they did is they took the car, his footage, because every driver and every car has their own camera in it, and they took that and then they digitally replaced it with the Apex car. So it's
interesting.
the same footage as Pierre Gasly, but then this into the trailer, which I do think is really cool. Yeah, they're on the ground. I think it's really fun. And look, this is just the first trailer.
So unfortunately, as I sit here and listen to this and this lore, I mean, I love a good marketing campaign surrounding a film. I'm starting to become more and more invested, which I hate, because when I first saw the trailer, I was like, oh, first off, I think Brad's doing a terrible performance. And I thought, okay, this looks cool. Like the cars racing did look pretty sick. I've seen those comparisons to this being like his Top Gun Maverick, which is.
And I'm still seated.
Well, yeah, that's how you get me to the theater. If it's somebody's Top Gun Maverick, I'm there. But and then I saw a tweet that was like, the thing that made the flight scenes in Top Gun Maverick feel special is because we don't see that often, where we do see racing and car crashes and stuff like that often, which I agree, but I still thought it felt pretty cool. Like that's the part that is still compelling me to see the movie. The only thing is I also kept thinking of Ferrari and those race sequences. I just don't know. I think I'm going to need to get a little bit more convinced on this movie.
I have a convince you.
Okay.
With me, I have the GQ edition of the April-May 2024 edition with Lewis Hamilton, where he discusses being an F1 legend, a fashion disruptor, and now a filmmaker. And I thought there's a quote in here that, Cam's going to love this. Hamilton says, like many a film fiend growing up, much of his time in Formula One has been marked by several surreal opportunities to meet people affiliated with them. This Hollywood story, he says, begins as many of the best Hollywood stories do, with Tom Cruise.
Oh. And it's not even Tom Cruise corner yet. So
Put your manners back in.
Tom Cruise always at the scene of the crime. Wow. I am intrigued by the idea of this being a movie about F1. Like it's going to be like my introduction to the sport, which I don't think Ferrari or Ford v Ferrari really got into as much. And I'm ready for that. Like F1's been building the momentum. I'm ready to learn about this and become a fan after this film comes out. And I am excited by like Lewis Hamilton's role in this. I think that is a good thing. Like I feel like the Brad Pitt of it all is the downer for me, but I'm gonna see it, and if I support it, it's gonna be because of Lewis Hamilton and that team. Is he in the movie or is he just producing?
I was just gonna say, I'm still kind of unsure how big of a role it's going to be because I feel like so much has changed in the past. This was seriously the April-May edition. This is July. Yeah, and they didn't mention that at all in the trailer. But something to note is that there are real F1 drivers, like real life drivers in the trailer, like in the lineup.
I think that's so cool.
Yeah, Carlos Sainz, Max Verstappen, who drives for Red Bull. Fernando's in it. So there was a lineup, and our guy, George Russell, of course.
George Russell's in it? I didn't even see.
George Russell he's in the lineup, but I do wonder, it's like how much there's been some commentary from Max, but I don't know, is it just like they're in it because they're in the background, or do they have lines? Like I'm dying to know, did they go to a table read? There's definitely things that we should be watching for. I'm so interested to see the second trailer. I'm interested to see their press tour, like I said.
Yeah, I do think we need more characters having social media. I think that's hilarious. And I think we need to have the actual actors doing it. It's like a form of method acting, I think. But yeah. I am a little hyped for the F1. I'm not afraid to say it. I am a little hyped. Other movies coming out, really quick announcements. Fly Me to the Moon, the Scarlett Johansson, Channing Tatum movie, out this week, I believe. Now, I had known about this because my lovely coworker had told it to me. It is hilarious to me that my coworker knew this and I didn't. So maybe, there's a lot of online talk being like, who knows what this movie is? Maybe we're not the demographic for it. Maybe the chronically online girlies are not who's going to be seeing this movie. And that's okay.
But I raise you. Channing Tatum, that man raised me.
I know.
With She's the Man.
Yeah.
She did call, I don't know if you saw this, he was in an interview talking about this movie, but you know what got the headline? Him calling She's the Man a soccer movie. Some soccer movie he did.
Oh, the disrespect.
Yeah. The disrespect. That movie taught me more about what a tampon did than like years in a Catholic school. Yeah. So I am interested in seeing the movie. I need to find showtimes near me.
I'm not interested in seeing it. I'm never going to see it. I'm happy for you.
I want to see it just because I do love Channing Tatum and I do love any reference to Frank Sinatra. So that's why I think, like, why is this not being pushed out of me? Where's my algorithm?
Well, Luca Guadagnino, the new cast and crew photo from his new movie leaked. Thank you, IO, for posting that. Very excited. I mean, how many movies is this man working on? Like 800? Like, we're talking about him every episode because he's always got a project coming out. Can he take a break?
That man is the definition of a Renaissance man. It is like watching Michelangelo at play. I bet that's what people probably talk about. They're like, oh, Michelangelo next to a slab of concrete, making a new masterpiece. Likely place for him to be. So I feel like that's what we're watching right now unfold. Yeah. It's just like, man, that man is booked again. Shocking. But I'm still here. I'm at the place where I'm still looking at his letterboxd saying, Luca Guadagnino's secret project. What is it? What's the secret project?
And just Luca as a director, I'm so excited for like the performances he'll get. Like to see Julia Roberts in a Luca Guadagnino film is so compelling. Like I'm sad. Like the theater employees keep telling me to leave. They haven't even begun filming yet, but I'm sad.
Julia Roberts. When was the last time I saw Julia Roberts movie? I think it was, I'm pretty sure the last Julia Roberts, she was in that relatively new movie, I think with George Clooney. That's what it was.
You're right.
They tried to back rom-coms.
Yes.
But the fact I don't even
Caitlin
remember.
Denver.
Yes. Who I'll say I adore.
Okay, interesting.
I I think I adore, especially after seeing Booksmart.
I mean, I loved her after Booksmart, but then I feel like she did not get those roles that she needed to really cement her as a culture icon. So I'm kind of just lukewarm on her, and I'm really sorry about it. I know it's not her fault, it's Hollywood's, but
it's definitely Hollywood's fault, but she's going to be in The Last of Us season 2.
that's true. That's going to bring her back, and I'm excited for that. I am excited.
I'm all for a girly in a show with Pedro Pascal. I'm there.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
Rooting for
Which,
him.
speaking of Pedro Pascal, it's time.
It's time
Ladies
again.
and gentlemen, are you not entertained? Gladiator trailer dropping tomorrow. By the time this episode published, it's probably out. Val and I are probably both dead, 6 feet under.
We're buried by Pompeii.
I cannot even, there's no words for how excited I am for this. You love the OG Gladiator. I enjoy it, but I'm not like on the ground as you are.
My family was boots on the ground on this. Like, that movie had its own marketing campaign in my home. I'm pretty sure I learned the power of a bottom eyeliner because of Joaquin Phoenix in that movie. I learned the word Maximilian. No, he taught me so much. I'm so excited. I love this franchise with all of my heart. It's definitely part of my origin story, which we can eventually get to. But I'm so excited. And yes, by the time this comes out, we should announce that we will be dropping our own live reaction to watching the trailer. We're going to be right there with you.
So go watch that now. Pause this episode, go watch our live reaction, see if we make it, see if we're still around for next week's episode. We may not be.
I'm so excited for future me. I know she's just kicking her feet right now.
I'm just literally not like mentally prepared for it. My brain can't process the fact that we're gonna get like Paul Mescal bloody, dirty, in a little skirt fighting to the death, directed by one of our greatest living filmmakers with Denzel Washington there, like,
and to make, I just got goosebumps. And to make matters worse, it drops the same day as Wicked. It is in theaters the same day.
I know.
Huge. I'm once again saying one huge day for Val Nation. Speaking of historical pieces, My Lady Jane, I started and then finished within.
You finished?
Finished. It was everything. I loved it. I loved it so much. Edward Blumel, I'm a fan of you. You have
been a fan of Edward for months now. You told me about him. I believe you, but forever ago, and I didn't see the vision. I mean, I was like, I'm sure he's a nice guy, but I'm not sure if he's as it boy as Val is saying. I'm so happy to be proven wrong with My Lady Jane.
So good. Because hotness aside, his like aura, incredible actor. I'm not even talking about Emily. I don't know. I don't remember her last name. We can talk about it later. But the woman who plays Jane Grey, the historical
titular Jane,
she had me fooled. The woman is from the United States.
Oh, I did know this. Yes, she is an American actress. I thought her British accent was incredible. Great work.
In and out seamlessly.
Beautiful woman. Beautiful talent.
It feels like her American accent is fake. So good. Such a talent. So beautiful. I didn't know what to expect because I knew the story of Jane Grey just because I'm a fan of history and also women too. And 3-6, the musical discusses, the create and the consequences of that. So I knew she was. So I was really interested to see what direction this would take. But it is a book series, which all good pieces of media come from a book, mind you. Okay. Literature, before media is literature. Groundbreaking news thing for me. But it is a comedy. It's romantic. It's steamy at times. Very, very steamy. And yeah, there's a plot twist where I didn't see coming in the first episode.
Spoilers.
Yeah, he's a horse.
Right. Spoiler. There's magic.
Now, what's this about?
I said, what's this?
Let's dissect this back.
I said, what's all this then? No, it's
And
so good.
I thought it was like, why is he keep posting a photo of his horse on his
Horse.
Insta story doing this promo? Now I know why. Now, is this something from the book? Is this history? What's the gag?
It does come from the book. Because in the real life story, the division was between Protestant and Catholics. But in this story, the division is between Ethians, who are these mythical creatures, people who can transform, and Verities, which are just everyday folks. So it's basically the struggle between that, because Jane is like down with division laws because she's a girl boss who believes in equality and is progressive and woke. And then her cousin Mary, Bloody Mary, who is like, hell no, we're gonna keep those division laws, whatever. So that's the premise of it, and why it's a little different than the Protestant and Catholic,
Okay, gotcha.
But it's really, really well done. I think I was cracking up. I'm calling everyone mate. I don't know where that's coming from. I don't know where that's coming from. But it was really good. I kind of miss it. And the soundtrack slaps because they're doing a lot of covers.
Yeah.
And it's modern, so it's very, I don't know, it's very fun. It's very fun.
I think you and I are both girlies who love a good historical drama, especially kind of like one where it takes it and reimagines it a little bit modern. Like, Bridgerton, we see that. The Great, we've never talked about, but I know you must be a The Great stan. Come on. Love it. So yes. So I'm really into that type of show and series, and it seems like that's the vibes I'm getting from this. But we also just watched Widow Cliquot, excuse my French accent, but another really good like period piece reimagining where like it still feels like a period and very timely, but the themes that it's discussing I think are universal. It's not as like silly as something like I think The Great could be at times, but it still feels very personal and realistic and like, I don't know, yearning, sexy, hot. And I think it's so easy with period pieces to be like, it almost feels like fiction because of how these people behave. So when a piece of content and media like humanizes those stories and be like, no, we were still falling in love, having sex, fighting, having desires, being prosecuted, that I love to see in a show and a movie. So yeah, take it from us. Come on, we're the spokespersons on period dramas.
We're literally senior Spocks for them. But that's us. And also our review for Widow Cliquot is on our Instagram as well. TikTok, if you want to go see our in-depth or more in-depth review there. But I agree with everything what you were saying. And to piggyback off of that, I love a piece of media that, especially a period piece of media, that focuses on romance, but not just the romance with the partner, but romance platonically, and a romance with nature, which I think really gets me, like in pieces like Pride and Prejudice, and Little Women, and honestly Widow Cliquot. There are certain shots and there's certain motifs where it wasn't just about a man and a woman, a man and a man, a woman and a woman. It wasn't about that love. It was about the love of the self-love. Like what was their relationship like? These people were out frolicking. Like there was still that appreciation for the herbs that were growing, the clouds in the sky. I just love these types of pieces because it just reminds me to ask questions. And why are things the way they are? Imagine a world where there isn't Google, where there isn't just a million encyclopedias that I could look up, even not even on my phone, but in my local library. There's all of these things that have been documented now, but what was it like to live in the time when it wasn't documented? And it's so cool to see pieces where from the 1600s or journal entries of things from 25-year-olds who are feeling the exact same thing as I am, and we're in the year 2024. Like, how beautiful!
I'm gonna cry.
Book is in the
I think you're so right.
It's so beautiful to think like I don't even have the words for it. I don't know how I'm feeling, but I somehow have the most access that anyone in human history has ever had, and somehow I lack the words. But then this person in 1873 knows exactly how to say the exact feeling that I'm feeling. I think that's beautiful. And I think, especially as women, I do love a period piece because of that. And then also to say, well, thank God I don't live in that time, because I wouldn't be able to have a podcast and yap. But yeah, it is a good reminder to
Oh,
to
that
ask.
was so gorgeous. But let's dive in even more into the Empty Theater Club lore and talk about our origin story. Yeah. Something that I think is so funny and I think about kind of constantly is the first time you and I ever really talked. I mean, I think we had maybe FaceTimed very briefly once or twice before, but really had like a long conversation was filming episode 1 of this podcast like 3 weeks ago. So that's classic Cam and Val right there. But do you want to
like,
talk about how we've met more?
I was just gonna say, like, the thing is that was our first, like, okay, in depth,
Yeah.
but our backstory begins at a liberal arts university in the Midwest.
It was your junior year because it was my senior year.
Okay.
That first semester, fall.
It was fall. So it was fall, whatever that year was. And we were in
2019, it would have been right before the pandemic.
was in the middle of my ex gate. Like the person I was sitting next to should have been sitting next to you in that class.
I know.
But
I think about this all the time.
we should have. But we sat across from each other and we were some of the only people who participated in that class because we had things to say.
Well, I will admit that I have horrid nightmare dreams of whenever I would discuss in that class because trust I was not doing any of the reading ever. I was a senior in college. No. So then I would have to talk and I'd be like bullshitting my way through it completely. And I had like no friends in that class, I'm pretty sure.
Oh.
Yeah, I was a loner. I was by myself. Come on.
I knew one person going in. I left still knowing, still being close to one person. It was a different person that I knew going in. So,
But yeah.
and now we're a good podcast together. But my first memory of Cam was she was wearing the shirt that said, it was your Moonlight shirt. It had the quote.
It's the famous like, oh my gosh, actually pause the podcast because I'm going to read it. It said, sorry, no, there's been a mistake. Moonlight, you guys won Best Picture. Moonlight won. This is not a joke. Come up here. This is not a joke. I'm afraid they read the wrong thing. This is not a joke. Moonlight has won Best Picture. Moonlight, Best Picture. That's what the shirt said.
Yes. So that's my first memory. We pull up to this political science, women and gender studies class. She's wearing this Moonlight shirt. Also,
no, I have more to say about being in this class because I really did not like you. And I don't think I've actually texted you this because I was saving it for the podcast, but we had to do like a final project near the end. And it was like, you could do an internship, you could do a presentation. And Val, being the cunty little bitch she is, was like, I'm going to make a movie. I'm going to make a short film. And at this point, I had already went to Cannes, right? I was at Cannes like a few months before. And I was like, oh, she thinks she's such hot shit making a movie. She thinks she knows film. Bitch, I was at Cannes. Come on, get out of here. And I was so bitter about it. Naturally, it's an amazing short film. Like, it's really incredible. And I was really blown away by her abilities. And I thought it was incredible. I just made a little presentation. So I think for me, I viewed her as like such a pretentious little bitch. And that's my mistake. I misjudged you because you're so sweet. You're so humble. But I wanted to beat you so bad that I was so jealous.
I'm dying because it's so funny. You literally were like, come up here.
No, I vividly remember though, like when we started like following each other on Twitter and stuff, I was like, oh, what's this about? Because I remember being like, I really did not like you at the time. I'm so sorry for that one thing you did, for being like a cute girl who I wanted to be. I was so mad.
You didn't like me because I did a project.
You made a short film.
I made a short film. TLDR. Didn't like because I made a short film. Also, you being like, it was such a masterpiece. I'm pretty sure I had it. Thank you. I'm pretty sure I had, I don't know what the name was, but it was an instrumental Coldplay song in it.
You need to watch the video. How did you film the house like falling apart though? Like you made it look like it was bombed. It's really great. I'm serious. I need to like learn your tips on this. You just shake the camera?
Well, it was like I pulled film and I had to go to like the library and find like archives. Hey, utilized our university's library.
Oh, it is not that serious. You know what it never was? That serious.
I literally was like,
so mad about this. I'm mad. Why weren't we friends?
No, I know. And also talk about period pieces. I think that was a period piece for us because I was romantically involved with the wrong person when I should have been focusing on female friendships before a pandemic.
Yeah,
Lo and behold, it all
Yeah.
turned out okay.
I know.
But I definitely that was that era.
Yeah.
But after that, pandemic happens. I need you to fill in the gaps for me from here on out because life has been a blur. So
I'm guessing it was probably around the Oscars time, honestly, last year. We probably started doing some Oscar likes and comments and retweets through reactions. And then
I
it
think you're
maybe even
so
would have been the winter of the year before that. And then started talking around. I was gonna try to find our DMs.
on Instagram. I first DM'd you on Instagram on July of last year. And I said, my baby girl. And you said, he's who I want to be when I grow up. Trust, it does say story unavailable. So I have no idea who's responding to.
I know it was Timothy Chalamet, come on. But I found you tweeted March 27th, 2022. March Madness question mark? You mean the Oscars? And I replied, someone speaks my language. That was our first interaction.
Screenshot that.
No more tweets then until April 2023. So we really like ghosted each other for a hot minute there.
Maybe I interacted in terms of like we just like liked each other's stuff, but never like okay.
Right. Me tweeting May 28th, 2023, how we feeling, Kindle fans, and you say nauseous. I also definitely tweeted that just for you to reply. Like I was definitely gonna bait you. And that's also my birthday. So I love that for us.
That's true. I do remember last summer. Yes, I think what reconnected us was the academia of it all. Because everything is cyclical. Because part of my lore is that I'm in grad school.
Yes.
And it took forever to get here. So I think that was the thing that reconnected us. Because I do remember last summer like messaging each other about The Idol.
Yes, that's true. So maybe we had kind of become friends. I think probably right around the end of Succession, we probably became.
Oh my God, yeah.
And then I know I messaged you because I did find the DMs about grad school, which was again just me trying to talk to you. I did not give a fuck what you had to answer. That's not like I cared.
Opinion? Thank God. So I was like, I'm in. Here's everything.
So
yeah, no,
but I feel like we've been closer for so much longer. We must have. I mean, we talk every day. We talk almost every day.
It's even like, oh my God, bestie. But I also feel like that's so women of us.
Well, yes. Well,
I would take a bullet for you. What are you talking about? What? Like you sat across from me in class. Like we talked about issues affecting our gender globally with each other. Like I would literally give my left arm for you. Well, like that's probably where it's rooted in. I'm just like, well, I don't know what to tell you. I'm a girl. Yeah, we have similar interests. Trust you're on my roster. Like that's ride or die now.
Yeah.
So that's our origin story in terms of how we met. But we did not fall out of a coconut tree. We exist in the context of things that came before us.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you.
But yeah, that's definitely where my origin story started, was that, and like Telemundo, that was always talking about someone we shouldn't be talking about.
Right.
So that's definitely, I loved pop culture. I didn't even think of it as this conversation that pop culture was less than. I never felt at home. I never like felt that until I feel like high school, when people were saying like, oh, when you go to college, this is your interest. These are hobbies. And I really, that impacted me a lot in college. I feel like it took a long time to like figure out, oh, I'm good at this because I like it. And that's a good thing. And it's okay to be multifaceted. But yeah, definitely taught at home that pop culture was important. And that if you didn't know about Luis Miguel's mom being a person who's still missing, then you're not really, I don't really care who your doctor is. Oh, you're a doctor. Like, do you know about this lore? So that was kind of like what was taught to me.
That's funny. I do relate quite heavily to the magazine of it all. My grandma would always get like People magazines and stuff. So I would read those quite heavily. I remember Angelina and Jennifer. And well, Brad and Jen's breakup. I remember that, which would have been like 2004, which is quite hilarious in retrospect that I remember being stuck this bitch about Angelina Jolie, and now I'm Team Angie all the way. But I remember that. But then the award ceremonies I'd always watch, especially the Oscars. I remember my first Oscars I remember is Slumdog Millionaire.
Yes. Oh my God. I still remember that. Yes.
Not us coming into consciousness at the same time.
I completely agree because that, in my mind, that was like the longest movie ever made. I don't know how to do it.
Yes.
It's not. It's not.
No, and then I remember specifically so well, and I hope this is real. I should actually Google it. But in my head, I remember so well Dev Patel on the Today Show the next morning. And I remember being like, wow, this really happened to this guy.
Wait, I think you're right because he was with the girl.
Yeah, probably. But I just remember seeing him, which is hilarious. And I thought it was like a documentary. I didn't understand the concept of acting yet. And then I remember The Dark Knight coming out because I remember Heath Ledger's death. And watching that movie like on TV, I remember the Joker like hanging upside down and being really scary. I was so scared of it. But like there's kind of these flare up moments for me when I feel like big moments in pop culture I was like observing in or participating in. I think this is why I am the way that I am, like mentally. To me, the ultimate show of success has always been winning an Oscar. Like that to me is success. So me, if I don't win an Oscar,
that was definitely really big in my household of you're staying up. If it's a Sunday, I don't care. Like you're staying up, you're watching the Oscars. Who practice your Oscar speech? Like my sister and I used to do that in front of the TV. Like I really do remember that. That's so funny. But I would love to know specific types of media, television, books, movies, all of that. What were the things that I made a list, but I want to know like yours.
Wow. Okay. Well, I did not make a list, but I was a big book girl. So I feel like for me, I always did the summer reading program. I remember like Junie B. Jones and the Boxcar Children because I was like, I want to live in a boxcar so bad. Like I wanted that. I think I had a crush on the older brother a little bit. And then the like I remember reading like the Frindle book series, like those books. Do you know those? Yeah, but then they had one where the girl like published a book, and that was huge for me. I really wanted to publish a book when
I was like, I don't know. I remember the first one. Like, oh, interesting.
Well, I wanted to do that. And then yeah, so books was a big thing. I can't really remember much then, but 8th grade, I remember reading Twilight for the first time. I remember the moment I discovered One Direction and What Makes You Beautiful because I was playing Papa's Freezeria. At this point, I was already a Justin Bieber girl. I remember going to like Club Lulu. I was a Club Lulu girl, so I'd get the Ashley Tisdale, like High School Musical hair. Yeah.
I had my birthday party there.
Yes. So that was definitely moments too, but I feel like the switch didn't really flip for me until like 8th grade. And I will say this because the summer from 7th grade into 8th grade, I got lice. And I'd stay up until like 3 a.m. watching Sex and the City reruns on MTV, learning how to braid my hair and becoming a woman while I had lice. So that was a really big thing for me. Now, at this point, I must have already been on Tumblr and stuff to even know what Sex and the City was, but that was a huge culture moment.
There's a story in my family where I don't really remember this like too much. Maybe I blocked it out, but everyone else in my family remembers. It was like early 2000s. I seriously must have been like 4, like pre-garden. And we got like a Happy Meal one day, and that was the times when you would get like insane gifts in the Happy Meals. There was some movie they made. Remember the purple character in McDonald's, like the universe they have?
Oh, yes, he was back just not too long ago, Mr. Grimace.
Okay. Yes. Oh my God.
Do you remember watching the McDonald's movies too? Because I remember
That's
that.
what it was.
Yes.
So it was this tape.
Classic films, actually.
It was the tape. Not even TV. Like this is seriously a tape that goes in. And it was orange. I do remember that. I would watch that. I would literally sit in front of the TV for hours. It was maybe a 30-minute film over and over and over and over and over again, to the point where my mom and my dad, they had to hide it.
They hide the space in it. I feel like I remember you're so valid for this, and I completely relate because I think they also like make a McFlurry in it that looks really yummy.
Yes, no, it was literally for my Happy Meal. That's why my parents were like, this is the movie you love, because we had in our like console, I remember we have our TV, and then we like press the door, and there's like the DVDs and the sound system, but above it was all of our tapes. and mine was the orange one. And there was like that Tom Hanks movie with him and his dog. Like there, I remember seeing it. But
Yes.
that specific orange one, it was beaten to death with the cardboard. Because it was not meant to play this often. It was
That's
given
so
to me.
funny.
But they literally had to hide it because I would watch it over. That's all what I wanted to do. I watched that movie to calm down, and then if I couldn't sleep, they would play Tony Bennett, and I would out like a light.
That's so funny. I mean, this is such a deep cut. Like there was like those Barbie movies too.
Oh,
and
trust that's on my lord. We still have the DVDs. That's on my list. I would say,
but also like those Disney Channel direct to DVD or direct to VCR movies that I think really was key to both of our upbringing too. Like the Little Mermaid sequel too with her daughter. Like all of these were important to me too growing up.
The things that I wrote down of like things that came to mind. I remember my favorite movie, not my favorite movie, my favorite book that like it was the first book that ever made me cry was A Ring of Time. I vividly remember in 5th grade, like that was the first time I like cried over a book.
That's
like because I remember you go to Barnes and Noble, my mom would be like, go pick out whatever you want. And I picked up this book. And I remember it made me cry in the middle of class where I was like, you know, you would have time to just like read for like AR points. And I remember I just like started crying in the middle of class where I was like, whoa, I'm reading a book that it was not assigned to me to read. And now I'm feeling really emotion. So first book that made me cry. But movie-wise, I would say like Aquamarine.
Yeah.
Loved Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen. That shaped. Loved Eloise at the Plaza. That movie.
I've never seen still, and I need to. I know. It's on my list. I know. Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen, when they like go and meet the band and it's a terrible experience, and then I think they get on the train home. The amount of stress that I felt watching that movie. Oh,
and she does that. That girl. No, that movie is probably one of the reasons why I did musical theater growing up. H2O was a huge H2O fan.
Yeah.
You said High School Musical. Let's see. That's So Raven. Oh my God, that was my favorite like film. Not my film. My first favorite TV show. My sister and I would watch that religiously. All the Disney Channel behind the scenes. Like I said, like I love B-roll action. I loved those
Disney
like,
Channel games. That was huge because that also introduced you to like the concept of celebrity, like them not being just a character.
Well, because it was so validating to be like, so all these people think this person is worthy. So it's not just me. Let's see another thing. America Ferrera / I wrote down America Ferrera / Gotta Kick It Up / Bring It On. And that franchise.
Wow.
Love all of that. We would watch that all the time. ABC Family was huge.
Yeah.
Huge. Like
ABC Family for me through my older sisters. Like I should not have been watching some of those shows at the age that I was.
Yeah, another thing that I probably shouldn't have watched, but like watched way too young because I was watching with my sister, Secret Life of the American Teenager.
Yes.
That was my guy.
That introduced me to like a love triangle, and I ate it up. I was like, give me more.
I hated that Ricky was like obviously hot. Like I hated it.
I was for the nerd guy all the way, and then he became a friend. Oh, it was so much drama with the other girl, and they had a baby together. Everyone was having babies.
No, definitely the Tumblr and One Direction was the big spike though. Yeah, I remember tweeting. My sister still has. I'm sure she still has a screenshot. But that was the era of the like those reaction, like the 4 photos of like, hey, you this? I did one of like I love like One Direction or something, and I had braces. I'm like 12. Just thank God, because some people are just the kids are not ugly nowadays. But that was the era where I was like, I don't care. I'm gonna put this on the internet because I don't care what I look like. But my sister like saved it. And where she tweeted was like, she responded back to it was like saving this for when you're in high school. Okay, wait, I need to be embarrassed. Okay.
Right.
So not everyone is a fangirl. And I need to like create a different account for this. Like that's where I was learning that, where it's like, wait, different audiences.
Yes.
If I want to do like a rapid fire though, I would love to know like your first ever favorite film.
I don't remember. I'm literally so sorry. This is the gag about me, is that I don't remember the first film I ever saw in theaters. Do you have one? I mean, I'm so gagged by this. And I hate this question because I know like who I am as a person. This is going to be relevant and I don't have an answer.
Oh my God. I'll ask my parents the first movie I ever saw in theaters. I don't remember either.
But what was your first favorite film?
Well, my first favorite film was Wizard of Oz or Juno.
Okay.
That was like the first concept of like, I want to watch this over and over again, and I
Yeah.
like it.
I remember mine. Then I do remember one. It was like
Yes.
the 2005 live action Peter Pan. Because I thought he was so hot. I thought he was so hot. The Peter
With the
Pan.
blondie.
Yes, and then later he shows up in Soul
Yeah.
Surfers. Trust, I follow his career. I think his name's Jeremy. Yeah.
Always a J name.
I mean, I don't feel like I would consider that like a favorite film, but it was definitely like a sexual awakening for me, and I wanted to watch it over and over again for that reason. So,
Your first favorite song? Or like a song that like you remember that you shouldn't have listened to when you were younger, you just had way too much fun with.
I had like a Barbie like mixtape cassette player that I'd put in my radio, and I remember really liking the Hey Ya song by Outkast. And like we would do a little dance to it. So I'm gonna say that one. Or Bananas. Like this shit is bananas. That song was a classic too. Probably one of those two.
Oh, I
At least
love
like for adult music, not kid music.
adult music. We were a really big now that's what I call music family.
Mm.
So any of those songs didn't even matter if they had swear words. My family was like, turn this up. Let's see. Let's say our first fandom, but like One Direction, Doctor Who.
Yeah, I actually think mine was probably Justin Bieber, but yours was One Direction, you think?
I would say like first formal fandom, yes,
Yeah.
because everything else was kind of like
I do, yeah.
I mean,
Like One
you know,
Direction, you're making the social media accounts for it. That's true. Because I did make my first like fan account with One Direction. And yeah.
well, it was also the first thing that I was like, well, this is not only because before I feel like growing up, it was very gendered of like boys like this, girls like this. That's just what it is. So every girl likes it. And there kind of came a point where not every girl, like One Direction was the first, I think the first breaking point where not every girl liked it.
Yeah,
So
that's so true.
well, now I'm in another section of like girls who like this. And then still, trust and believe, boys were still making fun of us. So I think that's how I differentiate like what the first fandom versus like love.
That's a good point.
But yeah, that's definitely, I feel like that was me in a nutshell. Because we're not even, let's not even get into like high school media.
No, I think if we dive into the last like 5 years of my life and relationship with media.
No, we need to write a variety article will be written about us. Like there would be like
Well, it's also we start remembering it more and more, so it's just like so much lore to dissect there. Yeah. Moving on, now that we've had a therapy session, and I hope the viewers are still here. I want to talk about another therapy moment, and that is things that filled the void for us this past week. These are purchases we've made to try to feel a little bit better about existing. Have you been buying things, purchasing things? I feel like you've been on a slower roll lately.
No, I know. I've been in my frugalista era.
Yeah.
But it's because it's summer, so I'm trying to figure out like summer travel plans. So I'm like, that's definitely gonna fill the void. An ocean will heal me, that's for sure. But I think what I bought this weekend to really fill the void was ingredients to make a key lime pie. Speaking of Forrest Gump, that's not even a Forrest Gump thing, but it was 4th of July weekend, and I was like, okay, not necessarily homesick, but just maybe under the weather in terms of like homesick. So I was like, I'm gonna make something from scratch to make me feel a little bit better about late stage capitalism and the end of democracy.
Yeah,
that's what
I went to the Pleasing pop-up store in Chicago. I had a little girls' vacay away. Very fun. My limit was $100, dropped $185. So woohoo!
Called shrinkflation. It's not your fault.
It's true. That's actually so true. I mean, my God. So I bought this gorgeous Pleasing bag that you could see so clearly. It has the label. I think the blue and yellow is fun. So I
think the blue and yellow is a slate. Is that the same? Is that the different color of that original beach bag, like that white one?
Yes. And that one was there too. And then a red one, but the Pleasing bags sell out very quickly online. So that's why me and my friend both bought one in person. And I famously have to carry a big ass computer with my work computer because my work computer keys don't work. So I've been wanting a big bag for it. So I do think this is like a smart purchase. The thing about it filled the void for like 2 minutes. And today when I packed my stuff in my bag, I was really happy. And then I was like, how am I going to pay my credit cards this month? So
yeah, so true.
Yeah. So our For Your group chat this week.
Fair consideration.
We have 2 things for you because we could not select on one. They were just too iconic to make us pick. First up is Mr. Brisket, aka Glenn Powell's dog, who's having a moment right now in culture.
He's having such a moment, and if you don't know, don't worry. We'll attach a photo of Brisket so you know, because if you know, you know.
Yes.
And personally, I love Brisket because I love when major celebrities have tiny dogs. I think that is such an important moment. We saw it with Paris Hilton. I'm obsessed with it. It's definitely a Brisket Palace summer. And it's just so cute. I go crazy for their ears. And there was that video of Brisket in the wind. They're like on a boat with Daisy Edgar Jones, Glenn Powell, and Brisket. And the wind is just blowing in their hair. And I was eating it up. I loved it. Like,
yes, I think Briskets is making a cameo in Twisters. I'm putting that energy out there. I saw they had their own chair on set. I think Brisket is going to win an Oscar. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's the new Messi.
Dog from Anatomy of Fall. Yeah, that's true. Wow.
Oh my God.
I will also say that Brisket was adopted. So we do love an adopted dog. Thank you, Glenn Powell.
Who rescued who? Oh God. See
Yeah.
that really, and that's why it's the first FYGC of the week. The
Yes.
second you have to discuss.
Our second is Miss Mia Goth speaking Portuguese at the Maxine premiere.
Sim, eu falo português, mas é melhor se falamos em inglês.
Então, terrified,
audio.
sleep demon, paralysis, scared. Somebody said she sounds like the like oddly oi, the girl from Popeye's girlfriend. That's what they thought she said.
It sounds like olive oil.
Olive oil, yes.
Yeah. No, I love how someone was like, I love how she's oi matey in every language. True.
I don't even think it needs to be her speaking Portuguese. Just why does she sound like that in general? But the Portuguese, why does she know Portuguese? It's not like a common language people learn. I know Lisbon's having a moment, but still,
Yeah,
like,
so
lots to
Lisbon,
dissect.
her grandmother is Portuguese.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
Yeah. And I think that's how she knows it. But then she said it, what she said in Portuguese, she goes, yes, I love Portuguese, but I would prefer to speak in English. And that's why there's kind of like worry in behind her voice. Because at first I was like, I heard English at the end, and I was like, oh, like, why'd you say English, Queen? Like, what's going on? And then someone translated, like, Mia Goth Brazil fan page translated it for us. And that's why I was like, wait, I kind of like feel for you. Like the way in her voice, she was like, before you quiz me, I need you to know, please, I prefer to speak in English.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's
I
cute. Really all have. So share them in the group chat.
Ask your friends. Just send them Mia Goth speaking Portuguese and with her shaky voice, and see what they have to say. And then get a picture of Brisket and say who rescued who. Quiz them.
Let us know in the comments.
Well, that's episode 3. Thanks for sticking around. Make sure to drop a comment on what your favorite media was growing up, and don't forget to like us, review us. If you're on Spotify and Apple, a review goes a long way. Hey, remember that. That's your words of wisdom today. And definitely send to your friends. If you like this episode, we'll see you next week.
Yeah, see you next week.
See you next week.